My Wambugu apples just turned 7 months today. If you're with me, if you've been with me throughout my growing journey, you know where we've come from. If you haven't, welcome. My name is Willis. I am the founder of Thrift Gardening. I teach people how to garden, how to garden in a thrifty way. I also do a lot of fruit farming, and today I'll be showing you how my Wambugu apples are progressing at 7. So if you have been with me, you know these are, I planted 6 of them, 2 rows, 1 row and this other row. These are the ones that took off immediately. These ones they didn't, but as you can remember, I tipped them and they started growing. So from my previous video you saw that I started tipping my Wambugu apples after they reached 5 feet. As you can see, there is a new growth coming our way. Many people have been asking me, I have seen them in the comments, why didn't you tip them? They're so tall, you shouldn't tip them at 5. If you are an OG, you know that this was intentional. The reason I didn't tip this is because I wanted to experiment to see how the Wambugu apple tree grows without tipping, I basically wanted to let it take its natural course, and majorly it was to compare the Wambugu apples that are tipped when young and they branch out so young, and these ones that are single stemmed. Single stemmed basically is just letting your apple tree develop this stem first so that it can start branching at this level, and that's what apple farmers in developed countries do. As you can see, this one I didn't tip. I think this is a good example. Let's check the anatomy of this Wambugu apple tree. As for this tree, I never tipped it. I just planted it as it came, and as you can see, its anatomy is quite interesting because you might think that I've tipped it, but I actually haven't tipped it. No, I just tipped it recently up here, but all these branches, they took off without the tipping. As you can see, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches that just came about by themselves. And I kind of like this anatomy because you have this central stem from the bottom that can be able to support the branches at the top, compared to this type of tipping where you tip the Wambugu apple when it's young and it starts branching out from the bottom. So the experiment was to compare the two. How do they compare? I know it's still young. These are about 7 months. But that's the reason why I didn't tip these 3 Wambugu apples. It was intentional. It wasn't me not knowing. And worst case scenario, like for this Wambugu apple, I was expecting a similar thing to that. They're naturally branching out, but it tried branching out. I was expecting it to continue, but it stopped here. I'm hoping that now that I've tipped the top, it will focus more energy on growing the side branches, and eventually get something like this. So nothing much, just some new growth at the top. Worst case scenario, if these ones don't develop, I'll just use a scalpel. I learned a new trick. You just remove the leaves and remove just a part of the bark, and the branches will come out from there. So that's worst case scenario. That's Wambugu, let me call it Wambugu 1. This Wambugu 2. This one took off from the bottom with 2 branches. This was the main branch that came with the Wambugu apple. This was the new branch that formed. I taped both of them. You'll see that on my previous video. As you can see, we have some new growth. Also some new growth here on this other branch. This is the tree that I was telling you about. The one that I like. Its anatomy. So beautiful. And it looks strong. And this is what I wanted to achieve. Here we have the other 3. They've grown quite a bit, maybe 3 feet tall. If you can remember, these ones were so slow to start growing, and I tipped them while small. I think I tipped them here at this point, and it forced the apple tree to start growing. It's still small because these are about 3 feet. Those ones are about 5 feet. But they look healthy to me. As for these ones, I tipped them. At the same time, I tipped these ones. But now these ones, I tipped them while small. So over the next few months, we'll see how the two compare, you know. This is quite longer than this one. This is about 4 feet or 3.5 feet. Doing quite well. I also tipped this one when small. I also tipped it the other day. It's starting to develop new branches, and I'm excited. I also applied some cow manure, as you can see, a bucket on each hole. I first planted these Wambugu apples in December last year. So I mixed the soil and manure while planting. I also added manure after 3 months. That was around maybe late March. And it's been 3 months ever since. So we're in June. I've added manure. So the goal is to always add manure, because manure is food for the plant after every 3 months. So the next time I'll add manure on this Wambugu apple trees is in maybe September, early September, late September. And that's around the time where I'm expecting these Wambugu apples to be producing flowers, because essentially, ideally, it should be producing flowers at month 9. That should be in August. Hopefully in August, September, we'll be seeing some flowers on these trees. And hopefully in December, we'll have some apples to crunch. So that's my Wambugu apples at 7 months. I also added some rosemary around the garden. I had too many of them, and I thought, why not create a hedge around it? So that's my garden. If you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me if you're on TikTok, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and make sure you plant your own, because the goal of this channel is not to it's not for me to just show you my Wambugu apples, but to inspire you to grow your own apple tree. You know, it doesn't make sense for us to keep eating apples that are imported when we can grow ours. You know, let's support our Wambugu apples team. This apple tree is just 1,000 bob. I've planted 6 of them. This is just a small patch. You can plant this around your garden. And let's eat organically. Let's be health. Let's be conscious of our health. And let's build Kenya. So until next time, bye-bye.